Why am I sad? Oh, welcome to the stream. There are there are content warnings. You're wondering why there's content warnings? The swearing is normal. Violent graphic depictions and drugs. We'll get to that. Don't you worry. Oh god. Welcome to the first All About Bacteria stream. I would be wearing a lab coat. I didn't plan very well, so we don't have a lab coat. So I'm not very lab compliant. Oh no. But don't worry. I am a professional in training. All right, let's get this party started. Woo! Okay, so for those who want to follow along and read the Google Doc that is in the pinned, and we have a little slideshow of images, which this is a group of. I know what these images are, I just don't have written down what they are. But I have the image sources in the doc, so this one is a group of students. I think it's a group of some people. I think here it is. Is this the right one? No. Okay, is this the right one? Welcome to. I probably should have, in hindsight, prepared like actual notes for what every image represents. Most of them, though, are auger plates, so they're not that complex. Here it is. Bye. Sorry, I live with other people. It's great. So the image right now is showing, to quote the CDC caption, this photograph depicted Laboratory Leadership Services, LLS, fellow, oh god, Atensica Marinova Petkova, as she was demonstrating how to set up a real-time polymerase chain reaction, PCR, for detecting anthrax at the Pasteur Center in Yadoun, Cameroon, which is from 2017. So, yeah, I know what some of these images are, but some of these I don't. But welcome to the All About Bacteria stream. Are you ready for fun? Are you ready to have a good time? Because I sure am. This has been in the works for months, and I am so excited that the day is finally here where I can share it with you. Oh. So, here's how this is going to work. If you're currently following along in the Google Doc, welcome. If you're not, I'm going to give you an outline. So, first, we're going to start with general information. We're going to go to anthrax infection, discovery of the Bacillus anthracis bacteria, a couple of known outbreaks. Oh my god, welcome! Hi, everybody. Right, so outline. General information about the bacteria. So stuff like, is it aerobic, anaerobic, gram-positive, like its shape, that type of thing. Then we get into anthrax infection. That's going to be a fun section, and that's where the drug stuff comes in. If you're wondering, why is there content warning for drugs and violence? Anthrax is an inherently nasty infection, and injectional anthrax is linked to drug use. Hence why there is a drug content warning. And then we go. Many of these are not friend-shaped USA pop. But welcome, Makuba. Welcome. Yes, Topo. A lot of doc. Welcome, everybody. So, general information, anthrax infection, discovery of the bacterium that causes anthrax, known outbreaks, which I picked ones I thought were notable, unsavory uses, which is bioterrorism and bioweapons uses, and then recent research. I wish that section was longer, but prefacing for their recent research stuff. That is where I really talk a lot about technical stuff, and that is not as friendly when it comes to how much information's there. Because with the recent research, it's a little harder to kind of condense that. And then at the end of the document, you got all the references and image credits, and then there should be, if I put it in here, at the end of the doc, at the end of the stream, if you want to go read all of the stuff that maybe didn't make the cut, you can go find all of the things I had bookmarked for this at the end in its own separate doc. Let me go make sure that that is available for everyone. Welcome to. I should have done that before stream. Did I do that before stream? Okay, no, yeah, it's working. Hooray. It works. Okay, so we're all good. Hooray. Everyone here? Everyone ready? All right. So, we're going to start with general information. I just outlined all this. So, welcome to All About Bacteria, and the first stream is about Bacillus anthracis. Bacillus anthracis is my favorite bacteria, hence why we're doing it first. So, let's get into some general information about Bacillus anthracis. So, Bacillus anthracis is an aerobic, meaning it needs oxygen to undergo metabolic processes. Gram-positive, so I actually have a photo here of what it looks like when gram-stained. Where is it? Where is it? That's not it. That's not it. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, that's separate thing. Welcome to He is Struggling Today. This, I think, is this the right image? Yeah, that should be gram-positive. Yeah. So, my homies need oxygen. When it comes to bacteria, not always. When it comes to big mammals and plants, yes, you do need oxygen. So this is what it gram-positive looks like. It means it looks purple when we do a certain staining process. If you want to know more about gram staining, I do have a VOD that I did for the All About Microbiology series on gram staining on my YouTube, which is the exact same as it is here. We're gonna need to stay hydrated for this. All right, so what gram-positive means, though, is that it has more peptidoglycan in the cell wall. It is a rod-shaped bacteria. Side note here, when something says rod-shaped, it may also say bacillus-shaped, like bacilli-shaped. That is because that's just... You got rod-shaped bacteria, circle-shaped bacteria, and spiral-shaped bacteria, and those are respectively called bacilli-shaped, coccus-shaped, and then spirillum. Side note, if you see that in the doc or I mention it, and just a note, it is capable of producing spores, and it is because it is a bacillus bacteria. It's what its whole genus is well known for. It is naturally occurring in soil and is zoonotic, meaning it affects animals, and sometimes infections in animals can lead to infections in humans through consumption of contaminated meat. If there's spores in, say, like the wool of a sheep or an alpaca or whatever you can inhale those spores when you deal with processing the wool. Cutaneous anthrax infections, lots of stuff. So, in the genus Bacillus, it is the only obligate pathogen. Obligate is when an organism is restricted to being a certain way. So if it is an obligate pathogen, that means it is pretty much always going to be pathogenic. Actually, it is always pathogenic. When we talk about Bacillus cereus, it is a opportunistic pathogen, which means it's not always a pathogen, but when it has that opportunity, you'll take it. So it is in the group B. It is in, yes, bacilli, obligate dark. Yes, A-pop, that is very true. It is in the group of it is in, well, oh my god. It is in the genus of Bacillus, and it falls under the group of B. cereus, which encompasses a lot of different Bacillus bacteria. So I've listed here Bacillus cereus, Bacillus thuringiensis, and Bacillus mycoides, all of which are very fun in their own right. So I'm going to mention this really quickly. What I'm about to talk about is colony morphology, and it's talking about it on a specific type of medium. Because Bacillus anthracis is usually only really grown on, at least from what I've seen so far, and during the whole research process for this, on blood agar, that made this process a lot harder. This part is going to suck whenever I do it for the Bacillus cereus, because Bacillus cereus grows on a lot of different media. But Bacillus cereus is not the topic of today. Hello, cat. One of my cats has shown up. Hello, boy. Hello. He is not a bacteria. He has bacteria inside him. You have bacteria inside you. He is not a bacteria. So on blood agar, Bacillus anthracis is the colonies we can extract from it are non-motile, meaning they don't move. Motile bacteria move when you look at them under a microscope as long as they're alive. And it is non-hemolytic. So non-hemolytic bacteria or gamma hemolysis are bacteria that don't break down blood cells. They don't lyse them. And lysis is cell death. So fun stuff. And it grows on blood agar at around 37 Celsius. It produces these kind of off-white. I have images of it in the here. This is an electron scanning microscope image that these are not colored. This has been digitally colored. Side note, that is not the right auger. This is. So as you can see here, you can see what it looks like. Oh, that is my model. Oopsies. Where's the slideshow? There it is. You can see what it looks like. It's kind of like these off-white colonies. And then, I'm going to get more information here. They're slightly granular. And they're roughly about 2 millimeters in diameter. And when touched with a loop, loops are what we use to inoculate auger plates, pick up colonies. They're usually called inoculating loops. They can be disposable or metal. The metal ones are sterilizable, which is fun. But when teased with a loop, it is tacky feeling, which is interesting. So, Bacillus anthracis spores are highly resistant and survive in soil for decades. You might hear about, we'll get into this later, actually, when we talk about Grungard Island, which is in the unsavory uses section. What is my cat doing? Please be normal, buddy. I love you. I'm doing a stream. Ugh, cats. Love them. So these spores are resistant. They can survive high heat. They are hard to get rid of. Because they can survive heat. They can survive... I think I mentioned it. We talked about it here in the... I gotta scroll down real quick. Because it was mentioned in one of the resource papers when it looked at the difference of certain composition of certain strains. It mentioned that a certain protein makes it less likely for, well, not certain protein, a certain sugar. Yes, surprise audience. Not really, though, because if you've been here long enough, you know at least once per stream a cat comes and interrupts. Where is it? Oh god, I am thirsty. So these they are also phagocytosis rates do depend. We'll get onto that later. I have a big ass jug of water for this stream because I don't want to take really a lot of breaks to just get up and get water. It's thick and girthy. The downside to that is that it has a straw, and so I have to lean it so it clogs and stuff. So because these spores are resistant and can live and survive in soil for dormant for decades, long periods of time, they are hard to get rid of, and it's hard to decontaminate an area. But when exposed to a nutrient-rich environment, such as, host tissues or blood, these spores will begin to germinate and grow into basically the actual bacterium, for a lack of a better way to explain this. Think of a spore as like a dormant bacterium when we're talking about bacterial spores. When we're talking about fungal spores, that's its own thing. When we're talking about bacterial spores, think of it as like a dormant bacteria when it comes into contact with an environment that is full of yummy goodness. Oh my god, that was cringe. Like good nutrients. It will become a bacteria. Well, bacteria proper, and start the process of infection. Lovely. In infected tissues and blood, it will form these short chains around a polypeptide capsule. Oh wait, hold on, I misread that. Welcome. No. Mokuba, do not eat them. No. Please. It'll form short chains surrounded by polypeptide capsules. This phenomenon can be visualized under a microscope when using a specific stain called a McFadden stain, which is used to visualize these cells that have these capsules. Oh wait, are we getting raided? Wait, did you raid me? Why is there a raid emoji in chat? Help. What? Oh wait, did you raid me earlier and I just didn't get the message? What? Or are you just cool? Are you excited that there's a new emote? Oh yeah, for those. No! Don't eat it! No! We're so close to talking about anthrax infection. Please don't eat it. You're about to learn why it's very bad to eat it. No. Makuba, no. No. Capsules are these like covers, the outer layer of a cell wall or something, and they usually are made up of a mix of different things, usually proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, that type of thing. So McFadden stain is a specialized type of stain that helps us visualize that. Or you can use something like highlighted India ink. I think I saw that referenced in a paper when I was mentioning this. So smears from colonies. Yeah, God Jesus, smears from colonies cultivated on default media. So, like, I'm not sure what that meant when I saw this. When I was doing research, I was like, just like default media, and now that I'm looking at media for a all about microbiology stream on different media, I don't know what the fuck they mean by default media. I'm assuming they mean nutrient auger. It doesn't have those capsules. So Bacillus anthracis is the causative agent of anthrax infections. So what a causative agent is it's something that causes an infection. So in the case of like a bacteria, it'd be what causes that bacterial infection. In the case of a virus, so SARS-CoV SARS-CoV-19 is the causative agent of COVID-19. Historically, it has been known as wool sorter's disease, and we'll get why that is later. So, anthrax. The infection part. This is important. This is the important thing that builds up for all of the other things. There are 4 types of anthrax infection. I'm going to preface this by saying, for cutaneous, gastrointestinal, and inhalation, I've seen consistent naming for those. With injectional anthrax, I've seen it called both injection anthrax and injectional anthrax, so I don't know which is the correct pronunciation. I'm going to call it injectional anthrax because that just kind of fits the theming of everything else. But either works from what I've seen. All right. And preface for if you're checking out the sources after stream, one of these sources, contains very graphic images for injectional anthrax. I did not save, those images are not in the slides because they are graphic and they show areas that I cannot show on Twitch without getting banned, and I like to have this account, please. So no, we're not going to show those images. So let's talk firstly about injectional anthrax. Out of the 4 types of bacteria, I should say. Well, not bacteria, oh my god. 4 types of infection. Oh, hello, Milo, welcome. Welcome. Out of the 4 types of infection that we know of, injectional anthrax is the newest. It was first described in 2000 in Europe. I specifically believe Denmark? No. Where was it first described? Trying to remember. Welcome to... I did not write that down in my notes. But it was first described in 2000 in Europe in an injectional drug user. And for a long period of time, we didn't see any more cases. So because it's still relatively recent, it was only described 24 years ago. I would classify it as novel in terms of like the newness of it. So this type of infection at the time of I wrote these notes. I'm not sure if this has changed, but I don't think it has. At the time that I wrote this, this type of infection has only been seen, at least in, I'm going to have to say, developed nations. So, Europe, America, what's another? Australia, those type of places. In injectional drug users, but more specifically, European heroin users. So the current largest outbreak that we know of injectional anthrax happened starting in December of 2009, and lasted, at least from what I've seen, until December of 2010. And this outbreak, we'll talk about it more in the known outbreak section, but it had 52 confirmed cases with 17 deaths. Now, that's a lot. No, don't eat the bacteria! Chat, please. Please. No. Okay, no. A-pop. Makuba, no. No. Get in the timeout corner. Don't eat the bacteria. Oh, God. Please. No, it's not! A-pop, you're thinking of Lactobacillus aedosuffleus. You're not... I love you, chat, but why? Why are you eating bacteria? I don't know if you actually need peptidoglycan, average lizard enjoyer, but no. Yes, Makuba. The bacteria kills. It is very deadly. Um, so because it's still novel, our knowledge of injectional anthrax is still pretty limited. But thankfully, I was wrong when I wrote these notes because technically, if I remember right, one of my sources mentions that injectional anthrax, there was sightings of it in India with contaminated, it was in a hospital setting. Where is it? Is it here? Is this one the size? The Swiss? The Swiss. Welcome to batshit insanity. It's great. Where is it? Do you mention it? No, you don't. I don't think. Okay, cutaneous anthrax. No, you don't. Okay, great. Not that source. Welcome to Bacilli hunts down sources for 5 minutes. Oh my god. Wait, does it mention it here? Clinical forms, cutaneous anthrax, gastrointestinal anthrax. Ah, I forgot. I forgot. Oh, I just saw some unpleasant images of very graphic things. Lovely. Mm. Yeah, no, hold on. Yeah. The absence of an Escher and similarity to of the case to the ones reported after injection of anthrax contaminated antibiotic in India. Okay, found the source. Oh, another food related bacteria, Bacillus subtilis. Yes, we will talk about Bacillus subtilis eventually, along with Bacillus cereus. Those are in the plans list, and they are in fact both very cool in their own right because they are Bacillus bacteria. Um, heads up for like link 3 in the doc, which is Hicks et al. If you go look at that and you look at the under the clinical forms in the injectional anthrax section, I will not be held to lie. What should I Google? No, don't. Okay, I'm gonna read you the image captions of these. Injectional anthrax, preoperative photographs of a woman A with skin necrosis involving the medial aspect of her left thigh and labial majora, and a man B with swelling of his scrotum and skin necrosis involving his buttock. And then surgical debridement of necrotic skin and fascia of a patient with injectional anthrax and compartment syndrome of the right arm. Those are the images. If you want to go find them, they are in one of the sources. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it because they are graphic and disturbing and gory, which is and because of the regions that these images are of, I cannot show them to you on stream. Also because they are graphic and gory, and the first time I ever saw those images, I wanted to rip out my eyeballs. Because, God, it was a terrible day to sick. No! Well, sick and yes, that they made people sick. Sick not as. No, not cool. Not cool. Yes, Teppo, you had the exact same reactions as me. Because I was just casually enjoying reading my paper. My lovely, lovely paper. And, great. Lovely image. You love to see the worst things on a fine, I think it was Thursday afternoon, sitting in your college. Lovely. Not really. Right. Back to what we were talking about. So technically, I need to mention that I was wrong in the note process. Just don't use IV street duct if you can avoid it. Probably infections due to mechanisms and dubious drug sources. Yes, APOP, you are correct. Don't do drugs. There is a lot of reasons not to do drugs, and I shouldn't be the one to tell you this, but from a medical standpoint, stuff like injectional drugs, such as heroin, micro roulette, yes, Milo, yes. Plus, there is just a lot of bacteria on your skin in general, and not all that bacteria is friendly and fun and fabulous. So don't go injecting yourself with stuff without, either A, I'm going to specify this. If you're medically prescribed drugs that require the injection of them, such as testosterone, insulin, what else would require injections? Welcome to I am not a medical student. I am a microbiology student. There is a difference. Those type of things, you're prescribed them by your doctors. And follow the doctor instructions. Clean the site where you're going to inject. with like an alcohol swab, and if it's a multi-use vial, swab the top of the vial. Be careful. Wash your hands before you do the shot. Just if you're doing if you have prescription drugs that require injection, make sure you take proper safety and sanitary precautions so you don't end up with an infection. Um, yeah. So don't do drugs, and you shouldn't ideally be stabbing yourself with anything. So, injectional anthrax, notably, so quick side note, we're gonna have to detour to cutaneous anthrax for a minute. Cutaneous anthrax is known because, aside from being the most common form of the disease, it has a noticeable black eschar, which I'm going to show you. So, content warning, you are about to see a slightly graphic image whenever I get to it. It's not super graphic, there's no blood or anything, but it is this. This is not a pretty sight. So, this is cutaneous anthrax. You can see this black kind of scab that is called an eschar. And this is kind of what anthrax is known for. Kind of. It's not specifically called necrosis. It's called an eschar, and you can see it there. Yeah. And you can see it on a bunch of other images if you look up what anthrax looks like. Regardless of your urges, please don't chew it. Yes, A-pop. Do not chew on the eschar. So this is called an eschar. I have a specific definition for it. An eschar is made up of dead tissues and it surrounds an injury site, kind of like a scab. No, do not peel it. Average lizard enjoyer, I beg of you, please don't peel it, please. But injectional anthrax notably lacks this black eschar, which makes it distinguishable in a way, aside from symptoms, from obviously cutaneous anthrax. I don't in the notes document go into specifics about like what injectional anthrax infection looks like, but because I have the source pulled up, so symptoms wise, where is it? Give me the information on the symptoms. So you can expect some necrosis and shock if organ failure. Shock organ failure if it gets severe enough. Google eschar instead. Yeah, like inflammation, swelling. I'm trying to read the doc and my head is not working. Ah, darned. My brain is not working like it should. No. This is terrible. How dare it? You don't know why I'm doing a weird accent. Welcome to Would It Be a Bacillus stream if there weren't chaos? No. There has to be at least some mild amount of chaos for this to be Bacillus stream. So peritonitis, which is swelling of the peritoneum, I think? No. Peritonitis. It's swelling of the something. Okay, wait. I don't have a stretch routine. But, oh, I do have a posture check. That's right. All right. Big stretch. Thank you, Makuba. We are stretching. All right. Thank you. My spine is greatly appreciative. And my what's it called? Orthopedic doctor will probably be appreciative that people are watching us for my posture. So, but the general things that I think I should note here for injectional anthrax are necrosis, skin inflammation, and generally just not a fun time. Generally just not a fun time, and I think that's a good way of describing injectional anthrax. Now, cutaneous anthrax, which is the next form of anthrax we're covering, is the most common form of the disease. And you can see an image of what it looks like up on the screen right now. So most cases occurs in areas where countermeasures to the disease, such as animal vaccines and worker vaccination against anthrax, are a bit lacking and limited, if you will. But you can still have it in developed nations where those countermeasures are put into place pretty well. Cutaneous anthrax is the most typically the result of pathogenic spores getting into an open cut. So, for example, let's say you had a small scratch or break on the skin, a spore gets into that, and it does not. And you get an infection. Congratulations. Have fun with that. So, what is most noticeable about cutaneous anthrax is the black eschar, which gives the bacteria its name. One of my sources specifically explains winner. Okay, specifically explains what that is. Let me find it. Yeah, no, it's the second source, right? Where is it? Where are you? And I'm so sorry. Do 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 do. No, no, not pathogenesis. Bacteriology. Yes, maybe. Yes, here it is. Um, so the last part of its name, anthrax, is derived from the Greek word for coal, because of these black coal-like eschars that are seen in cutaneous anthrax, which you can see up on screen right now for your viewing pleasure. So, yeah. So cutaneous anthrax is one of the less deadly forms of the disease. I think, if I remember right, it doesn't have a high mortality. Can't remember the exact percentage for mortality, but it's not as lethal as the other forms of anthrax. Um, but it's most noticeable for that black eschar. Antibiotic treatment for cutaneous anthrax greatly reduces the likelihood of systematic disease. Well, not systematic. Is it more contagious? That's a great question. I mean, I, I'm not sure. I don't actually know the answer to that one. Oh, I forgot to mention this. I don't know how I forgot to mention it, but Bacillus anthracis is also facultatively anaerobic, which means if needed be, it can survive without oxygen. Mm. I forgot to mention that. I don't know how. Where are you? And do you have the answers that I'm looking for? Liquefaction or abscess formation, but focal points of hemorrhage are evident with some thrombosis. Thank you, source. That is very nice of you. Wow, great. Uh, I don't actually see it. Let me see if another source mentions it. I don't know, though. I'm assuming it would be possible, but I don't actually know if it is common for that to happen. Because usually, when you're talking about usually when you're talking about no, that's gastrointestinal, cutaneous anthrax. You're not talking about from person to person infection. You're talking about what's it called? Brain work. Zoonotic infection, where the person gets infected from working with animals or something of that likes. Something of that likes. Jesus, Basili, get your words correct. So I don't actually know the answer to that. I don't think so. I could be wrong, and I very much will. Probably I'm wrong. But I don't think so. At least I didn't see such when I was doing research. People in my house are awake. But so systemic disease, systemic, yeah, is when a disease affects multiple organs or regions of the body. So antibiotic treatment can reduce the risk, and like, well, not the risk, the likelihood of systemic disease. And systemic disease, cutaneous anthrax that is systemic, is more likely to be lethal. So, yeah. The most recent anthrax outbreak that I could find occurred in December of 2023. Well, I should just say in general 2023, but there was a lot of news coverage in 2023 at like December of it in eastern and southern Africa. Only 37 of those cases that I could find as of current. I tried to find like sources giving an update on what happened. I couldn't, which is a little infuriating because the only major sources I could find talking about it were either before like December 2023, talking about like related outbreaks. Mm. Oops. Stay hydrated, kids. We're either talking about outbreaks, or we're from December 2023 when the news coverage of this finally kind of hit everywhere else. But it seems to have been kind of swept, like, well, not swept up, but kind of like ignored in the face of more pressing issues such as ongoing conflicts in other parts of the world. So finding coverage of that after December has been difficult, and I haven't been able to find any. But what I could gather was there were over 1,180, not 80, 1,160 suspected cases, and only 37 of those were confirmed via laboratory testing. But that was the most recent outbreak of cutaneous anthrax. So gastrointestinal anthrax is caused by ingesting undercooked meat contaminated with anthrax. That's pretty self-explanatory. So gastrointestinal anthrax is associated with two forms, and these are either oral pharyngeal, which is like, your throat and your mouth, or your lower GI. So oral pharyngeal gastrointestinal anthrax, I'm just going to call it OP gastrointestinal anthrax, is associated with the following symptoms. Development of an oral or esophageal ulcer. An ulcer is a sore lining, the esophagus, stomach, or small intestine in this case. Swelling of the lymph nodes, edema, which is swelling caused by excess fluids in body tissues, and sepsis. Sepsis is a life-threatening complication of a lot of infections. I wonder how people ate anthrax without knowing. Well, nowadays, most people tend not to eat meat that has died from, unknown causes. We tend to eat meat that's been slaughtered and we know wasn't sick when it was slaughtered most of the time. Now, that's not to say gastrointestinal anthrax doesn't happen. It still does. But it's a lot less common because there are a lot more food safety things present in our society, even in developing nations. It's kind of common sense to not eat a dead thing that died of sickness. It still does happen, and you can eat meat that is contaminated with anthrax. It's, foodborne illnesses such as gastrointestinal anthrax still do happen. Now, is gastrointestinal anthrax the most common foodborne illness? No. That probably goes to E. coli. I love E. coli. That is a different can of worms, and that will be its own all about bacteria eventually. I don't know how long that one's going to take me, but eventually we'll get there. The lower GI form of gastrointestinal anthrax is associated with the following system. Intestinal lesions, so wounds, occurring predominantly in the, God, where are these parts on the body? Terminal ileum. Welcome to I am not a medical student. So the terminal ileum is like your most distant part of your small intestine. And then, what the fuck is a cecum? Your cecum is Thank you, Google, for not a pouch connected to the junction of the small and large intestines. Thank you, Oxford Dictionary. Wow. Thank you, Apop. Thank you. Yeah, it's connected to it, I think. Nausea, vomiting, malaise, which is general tiredness. Not fun stuff. Bloody diarrhea. Also located near your appendix. Yeah. God. Um, I don't think I need to explain what vomiting, nausea, and bloody diarrhea are. What? An acute abdomen? What? 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 Did I mean like an acute pain or inflammation? What did he mean by that? What? Bacilli, what? Damn. Right. And okay. Alright, I guess. Apparently my source doesn't know what it means either. Wait, I just realized. Yeah? What does it mean? Thank you, Apop. Everyone, give Apop a round of applause for being our resident medical person. The points are called Bacilli Bites. Yeah, I thought it was a fun little thing of alliteration. Oh no! I didn't think about that. I just thought it was fun alliteration. Please do not eat the Bacilli Bites. No. Hello. Please do not eat the Bacilli Bites. I didn't think about the implications when I named it. Okay, so an acute abdomen, which apparently is not a typo on my part, and just means shit's fucked. Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. I gotta go pick up my sibling. One of the, like, I was gonna make a joke of that, like, 18 I have, but then I realized no. That's an over-exaggeration beyond comprehension. Right, where was I? Sepsis. We love ourselves a good sepsis. Why was there so much damn sepsis in my sepsis and necrosis? Why is it so common with this bacteria? Has anyone? Yeah, it's mainly sharp abdominal thing. Thank you, A-Pop. Thank you. Yippee. Ulceration of the gastrointestinal mucosa, which is your mucous membrane. One of the millions of bacillobacteria siblings, yes. Yes, one of the millions. Oh, one of my cats came inside. Hello, which one are you? You're black. Are you Mama Cat or Snoopy? You're one of the black ones. Which one are you? I think. Oh, wait. Snoopy? No. That's Mama Cat. We got a cat. We got a cat, chat. Requires more observation/study and assessing possible referred pain, etc. to localists. Thank you, Apop. We love Apop. We have a cat. She is small. She is a girl boss. And she is the moment. Hello. Welcome to Where the Fuck Were We? Gastrointestinal mucosa is like your mucus lining of like your gastrointestinal tract. Is there a fly? Oh, hello. She is rubbing her head. Oh, big yawn. Against my microphone. Hello, girly. Hello. I love my cat. She is so teeny and teeny tiny. Don't hiss at your son. That's rude. Right, where were we? So ulceration of the gastrointestinal mucosa, which is your mucus lining of your gastrointestinal tract. Because, side note, stomach acid is strong as fuck. You kind of need a little protection. So that is bad. Which leads to vomiting blood, or clear some form of fluid, either clear or pus-filled, filling the abdomen, which is not good. You don't want fluid in your abdomen. The lower IgI form is also associated with mucosal necrosis, which is when your mucosal lining begins to die and rot. Extensive edema, which is swelling caused by fluids, and oh god, mesenteric lymphoditis. Can you say that? I had a hard time doing that. Which is inflammation. We'll get there. Inflammation of the lymph nodes in the abdomen. So your stomach lymph nodes. How fun. Sometimes, if you leave it untreated, the mortality rate of gastrointestinal anthrax can reach nearly 100%, which is terrifying. But not as terrifying as the next form. And this form, side note, everything causes nausea and vomiting. Most useless symptoms for a differential. Yep. Exactly, APOP. E. coli causes nausea and vomiting. Any salmonella, nausea and vomiting. Bacillus cereus, nausea and vomiting. Everything causes nausea and vomiting. It's great. But our next form of anthrax, I'm going to change the image. No, wait, that's the wrong tab. I forgot. Wait. Oh, yeah, that's a blood smear, I think. It's a blood smear. Let's check. This next form, I don't know why I didn't have it just segue from anthrax infection. Well, no, I know why I had it segue from anthrax infection to, like, the discovery of Bacillus anthracis. Because the discovery of Bacillus anthracis is important as to why Bacillus anthracis became used for unsavory things. But we'll get to unsavory uses in the next hour and a half. Hopefully. So inhalation anthrax is when anthrax spores, or the anthrax bacterium, enters your respiratory tract through, as you can guess, breathing, respiration, inhalation. Once they reach the lower part of your respiratory tract, so your lungs, they are taken up by macrophages, which are a special type of cell, and I forgot what macrophages do. Wow. Welcome to how much of my high school, like, anatomy and physiology stuck with me. You think I would know what macrophages do, because those are kind of important. I don't. I forgot. Yeah, it's a type of white blood cell that surrounds and kills microorganisms, removes them, moves them, etc. Fun. Yes. Thank you, APOP, for a good definition in chat. I love you, APOP. You are the best. Thank you. So after they are taken by these macrophages, they reach the lymph nodes. And here's where things start to get fun. So after reaching these lymph nodes, these spores start producing bacterial toxins. Now, bacterial toxins is really vague. Oh, right, because I had to turn off caps locks. When did you switch slides, Bacilli? When you turned off the... Because I have attached to the slideshow the thing. I have it so that wonderfully I can just tap with the power of my magical little caps locks and slide through them. Because it's not going to affect anything on my model, which is why I chose it. Now we're on the electron microscope image. So, bacterial toxins is very vague, because a lot of bacteria produce toxins. Actually, I'd wager most, if not all, pathogenous bacteria produce some form of toxin. And these toxins are associated with Bacillus anthracis. Specifically, no shit. That should not be... a difficult thing to figure out. Inhalation anthrax has 2 stages of illness. Because, well, you inhaled things. It's going to take a while for the inhaling thing to kill you. So the first stage resembles the flu. Like most fucking respiratory illnesses. Congratulations. You have flu-like symptoms. It's great. You're going to die. But we're not there yet. You just have flu symptoms. It's great. It's fun. It's a girly pop moment. Um so yeah, cough, a fever, fatigue. These symptoms last for a few hours to maybe a few days. And then sometimes they may briefly do this thing of resolving themselves. And then comes the second stage. Oh boy. The second stage is identifiable by the fever getting higher. Just just in my boy flu era. Thank you, A-Pop. Oh my god. So, you know, a rising fever, labor to difficulty breathing, excessive sweating, and lovely, lovely shock. Yay. Now, here's where I have to cover meningitis, of all things. So, bacterial meningitis is a thing. And Bacillus anthracis can make whatever form of infection you have, but especially inhalation anthrax, 10 times worse, with hemorrhagic meningitis. You can't see it, but I did that little SpongeBob imagination rainbow thing. It's great. So, to quote one of my sources, this is the first in-text citation, hemorrhagic meningitis may complicate inhalation anthrax, resulting in patients presenting with meningismus, delirium, and obtundation. Hicks et al. 2012. And here's the definitions of those things. Meningismus is characterized by headaches, neck stiffness, and fear of light. Nausea, vomiting, and are also common. Because why wouldn't they be? Obtundation is basically just similar to lethargy. And hemorrhagic is when something causes bleeding, particularly in excess. Hooray! Yippee! Are you ready to die, kids? No? I'm also not ready to die yet. Now this is not directly quoted, but this is paraphrased, so there's also a nice, lovely in-text citation. Although, for some reason when I paraphrase this, I forgot to remove the figure number and then the source citing part, where they cite their sources. Whoops! I'm going to keep that in just for the shits and giggles. So patients with advanced stages of the disease may present with bluish tint to their skin called cyanosis, such as, the fingertips, and low blood pressure. Patients with progressive inhalation anthrax are typically found to have these are words. Are you ready for words, chat? Mediastinal adenopathy and hemorrhagic pleural effusion that can be detected on chest radiographs. So mediastinal adenopathy is the enlargement of the lymph nodes in the central part of your chest. So, where your heart and lungs are. Hemorrhagic pleural effusion is when blood builds up in the nice, fun pleural sac around your lungs, which, puts pressure on them and stops them from doing this lovely, lovely thing called expanding. So bad. Very bad. Very, very bad. Because it is very bad, inhalation anthrax is very fucking deadly. I think I saw in some places it's 80%, 90% lethality, which is a lot. That means 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 patients who get inhalation anthrax will die. How fun! Are you starting to see why the government likes this for bioweapons, and why some bioterrorists may want to use this for bioterrorism? Yeah. But let's save the bioterrorism for later. And now, let's talk about the discovery of Bacillus anthracis. And there are several sections where I paraphrased from one of my sources. You can't breathe effectively, and that snowballs into your tissues not getting enough oxygen. Yep, correct. That's kind of what was used in Japan, right? I know what you're talking about, kind of, but you're talking about. So the Shirikyo cult tried that, but failed. So they ended up going with, I think, not ricin. They went with some type of nerve gas. Now, there is a successful bioterrorism attempt, not attempt, successful bioterrorism with anthrax. We will get there. We're not there yet. First, we got to talk about my favorite thing. How the fuck did we discover this big old little goober? So, for a long time, we have lived with anthrax for centuries. We have numerous documentations of things that resemble anthrax, and the one source I read has said this. It's been suggested that the famous plague of Athens, and then it cites a date, which is 430 to 427 BCE, was an epidemic of inhalation anthrax. Kamal et al. 2011. I will not mix up my 12s and 11s today. I will not. I will not. I swear. I promise. Where'd my headphones go? If you heard a thunk, that was my headphones. So anthrax continued to impact the lives of many people and many livestock animals for centuries. One notable epidemic that I won't cover in the known outbreak section because it seemed to only really affect European sheep and not people happened during the 18th century, where in anthrax wiped out almost half, around half of Europe's sheep population, according to Kemal et al. 2011. Because it has a lot of associations with animals, specifically sheep and wool, because it was a major work hazard for wool mill workers in Victorian England, anthrax got called wool sorters disease, which is a common nickname for the bacteria. Well, not bacteria, the infection caused by the bacteria. It is also why whenever I do make a little chat mascot model, you guys are sheep. Because I thought that'd be cute. But you're not sheep yet. You guys are stromolites. Although I guess you guys are still stromolites, but then when I give you guys a chat mascot, you're sheep. Which is weird. But on the bright side, sheep are cute and adorable. And it's a doop-a-doop-a-doo. Now, in 1850, two French physicians, Casimir Devine and Pierre Rainier, not Rainier, lovely bacilli, discovered small, and this is where I mentioned the thing about bacilli shapes, bacilli-shaped bodies, longer than the... I paraphrased this so heavily. Why are you tearing the carpet? Girly, don't do that. Longer than the middle, the body of a red blood cell in sick sheep, which is funny because the source was probably scanned in. It said it said sleep with anthrax. The source I paraphrased this from legitimately said sleep with anthrax. It also said Athenian plaque, which is lovely. Now, I don't want to be too hard on the authors because the paper was most likely, written and then scanned. And what? Don't attack each other, kids. No. Scanned in. So that's a fun fact about the research process. I read Sleep with Anthrax in a scientific paper. And I know it meant sheep. But that is funny as fuck. So the two physicians didn't really think their discovery was significant initially. But the two would consistently find these bacilli-shaped bodies, which you can see. This is not what they would see under a microscope, but you can see the electron scanning microscope version up on stream right now. They are bacilli shaped. They are kind of like these round oval shapes under the microscope. No, they are not purple. No, they are not green. The colors are digitally done. An electron microscope's image is black and white. It's grayscale. But we color it in post because it's fun that way. Why not? But so, eventually, Casimir Devine decided, you know, I wonder. They consistently appear in the blood of sick animals. Maybe these shapes are causing the disease rather than being a product of the disease. And good job. Good job, dude. You were right. And then during the 1870s, many researchers would start studying Bacillus anthracis. Most notably, Robert Koch. I love Robert Koch. Mwah, chef's kiss. He's where we got Koch's postulates from, which I will eventually do an all about microbiology stream on. Love Koch's postulates. It's an easy way of telling if something is causing a disease or not, by killing rats and or other lab animals. Oh, hello, cat. Why are you sitting? Hello. But most people, when they think of Bacillus anthracis, they think of Robert Koch, or they think of Louis Pasteur, who came up with the first anthrax vaccine for animals. Sounds fun. Yeah. The 1800s were wild. Even wilder when you learn about all the bioethical disregard we had in the 20th century. That is for a different time. All right. So now that we've we've talked about the discovery of Bacillus anthracis a little bit. Let's get to known outbreaks, baby! Woo! So, we got the 1979 Sverdlovsk USSR anthrax leak. You got the 2001 anthrax attacks in the United States following 9/11. The 2009 injectional anthrax outbreaks. The 2010 Bangladesh anthrax outbreaks. The 2012 injectional anthrax outbreak. That's fun. And then the 2023 African anthrax epidemic. But first, why don't we take it back now, y'all, and cover this in alphabetical. I meant chronological. I don't know how we got to alphabetical, but you know what I meant. Chronological order. So, in 1979, at a bioweapons research facility known as Compound 19 in good old-fashioned Sverdlovsk, Russia of the USSR, a research into Bacillus anthracis as a bioweapon was happening, to nobody's surprise. Of course, this was the USSR, although nobody really wants to admit what they have done post-World War II. That's all I'm going to say. Love me some water. But being the USSR, they had an incident. So the facility was built in the late 1940s. You know, following and during the time of World War II. Mostly following, because it was the late 1940s from what I saw. So after World War II. And being that the facility was built late, there were two vents that would, prevent anthrax spores, because they were aerosolizing anthrax and turning it into a powder, from getting exposed and out. And every day, they would have to, well, not every day, but every Friday, they would have to change these filters, as maintenance. So, on April 2nd, we would have disaster. Because during a previous maintenance of these filters, a clogged filter was changed out, but it was not replaced. And this was not logged. And the filter would not be restored until the following shift. However, the person in charge of the Sverdlovsk bioweapons plant didn't know this, and so would give the go-ahead for them to start production for the day. Now, this would cause a horrific consequence, because without those filters, whoosh, you are sending anthrax into the air and downwind of that facility. And a lot of people would get sick. Now, a little bit later into this talk about the Sverdlovsk, we'll get into, we don't know how many exactly, but we know it's at least this many who died. So that's fun. But a lot of people get sick. However, it could have been worse. If the wind had been going a different direction, these spores would have been transported up to city center rather than downwind to the outskirts of the city, which, would have been bad. Say it with me now, kids. Bad. And, obviously, killed a lot of people. But thankfully, either by divine intervention or sheer dumb luck, yes, say pop, bad. So bad. Indeed, average lizard and dryer. Very bad. So, because this was downstream of, city center and a lot of the population, the death toll was a lot less horrific, but still bad. However, because this was the USSR, and they didn't really want people to know that there was an anthrax outbreak that was their fault because they were doing bioweapons testing, they got rid of a lot of documentation of this. So we do not know exactly how many people died. We do know that at least a stack of people died, or at least 64 people, but it is estimated that up to 300 people may have perished. And those are just people who died. We do not know how many people were sick or how many people, were sick. A stack. Well, yeah. It's a good way of representing 64. And also, you can stack 64 dead bodies. I'm sure it wouldn't be too bad. So, during the outbreak and following it for many years, the USSR would do what the USSR does best and cover up their tracks. So they claimed very adamantly that the outbreak was of gastrointestinal anthrax caused by contaminated meat. They went as far to do things as send these pamphlets out over Sverdlovsk to, dissuading against consuming this contaminated meat. And and eventually, to some degree, while a lot of people had their suppositions, they even managed to persuade some people that, their propaganda was the truth. However, doctors who were working on the ground in, I'm going to call it Ekaterinburg, because that's its current name, but it was Sverdlovsk at the time, knew the truth. And some of them even went as far to save tissue samples and hide them and show them. Now, after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1992, would be when the, at the time, President Boris Yeltsin would openly admit about what had happened, and it would be confirmed that this outbreak was actually inhalation anthrax caused by faulty going-ons at this bioweapon facility. But by that point, a lot of these records were destroyed or, altered, and we don't know the true death toll of what had happened. That was depressing. Now on to another depressing thing. This time, bioterrorism! Yay! So you know what September 11th was. Of course you do. They teach it all about you. All about you. They teach you all about it in the American education system, because terrorism is bad. But following this, letters laced with anthrax were sent via the United States Postal Services to various politicians and media outlets following the September 11th attacks. These letters would get 22 people sick, and 5 of those individuals would die. We go into more depth about this and the ensuing investigation and all that fun nonsense when we get to the next section, which is unsavory uses of things. I learned all about the truth online. Yep. Conspiracy theories. And now we talk about the 2009 UK injectional anthrax outbreak. Dag memes don't melt steel beams. Okay. So, on December 10th, 2009, the first confirmed cases of this outbreak were reported in Glasgow, Scotland, when 2 injectional drug users had blood cultures come back positive for Bacillus anthracis. Spoiler alerts! Bacillus anthracis in the blood. Thank you, Apop. I will hydrate. I love that I have a big-ass jug of water. Great. Thank you, Apop. I have hydrated. So, in the following weeks, there would be more cases reported in Scotland. By the end of the pandemic, there would be several cases reported in England, and 2 cases, which ended up in death, reported in Germany. I have a big-ass jug! I don't have a big ass! It is very flat. Oh, wait. Too much information. None of you are children, so it doesn't... Well, It's a big-ass jug. Jug. You hear it? That's plastic. It's full of water. I have to hold it like a sippy cup to drink it. But it's okay. So, by the end of the pandemic, the following year, in December of 2010, there were 119 cases reported. 47 of those were confirmed by laboratory testing. Wait, is that a different number than what I had up here? Yeah, what the hell? Fun Bacilli Boy facts. I once had to go to the ER for stepping on a toothpick. That's a fun Bacilli fact. Not related to injectional anthrax, but funny. Don't worry, I was fine. It was funny. I don't know why the case numbers here are different than the previous mention. I'm not sure. So 47. No, I didn't end up with any type of bacterial infection from stepping on a toothpick. So no, not related to anthrax. So, this outbreak had 19 reported deaths, and it's believed by the UK government, at least, well, no, the Scottish government. Scotland is part of UK, fuck it, we ball. That during transportation, at some point, probably in the Middle East, that the heroin that these injectional drug users, because this was an outbreak amongst heroin users who, were doing the drug injection style, that at some point, on its way to Scotland, the drugs were contaminated with anthrax spores. This would not be the last we will see of injectional anthrax, but it will be the most notable of injectional anthrax, and the first time we would see a large outbreak in Europe of injectional anthrax. But yeah, 19 reported deaths, which is the 17 from other places than the 2 in Germany. So the 2010 Bangladesh anthrax outbreaks. It happened throughout 2010, and all the sources I've seen have lumped together. This is multiple different outbreaks. So an outbreak of anthrax amongst animals would spread to people. There were 14 different separate outbreaks, but I and others who have done, papers and stuff on this have decided we're just going to lump it all together under the 2010 Bangladesh anthrax outbreaks. So there were 273 cases. Only 39 of those were confirmed via laboratory testing, and 2 people would lose their lives during this outbreak. And 2 years later, in 2012, another injectional anthrax resurgent. resurgence. Wow. Who'da thunked it? So this started in Germany this time. Bavaria, Germany. When a couple new cases happened. More cases would pop up in Germany and then the UK. Europe. I meant Britain and Scotland. Yes, Europe. Wow. Denmark and France would also see their first ever cases of injectional anthrax. In total, 70 cases were reported and 26 deaths would occur during the outbreak. Side note, I don't know if those 70 cases were confirmed or if those were just 70 total cases and how many of those were confirmed. Finding sources for this was a pain in the ass. And then we get to the most recent, the 2023 anthrax epidemic that happened in Africa. Now, this was a fucking pain. I heard a cat. Oh, hello. Hello, Fred. Hello. Got anything you want to say to the people? You have anything you want to say to people? I got a cat. I got a cat. He's in my lap. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Alright, I'm gonna put you down because I don't want you on my keyboard. So, I'm going to preface this by saying, this outbreak, well, epidemic, was hard as shit to find information for. Because it seems like the only major outlets talking about this only covered it during a specific period during December of 2023. There are some sources I could find talking about as the outbreak was happening from November and other points in 2023. But after December 2023, I have not been able to find any fucking sources for this. It happened. It was reported by the World Health Organization and several major news outlets. But it appears, with the, major conflicts going on throughout the world, that it's been forgotten about. How lovely! I fucking hate it here. So this section, I did my best to give you accurate information. Head pats for the cats. Yep. I'm sure he would have loved them, but he left as soon as I put him down. I'm like, no, he's under the table. Oh, shit. My phone almost fell. Chat, I almost dropped you. So during 2023, news coverage and reports of a large anthrax outbreak in 5 separate African countries would become widespread. Gotta head out to Africa now to fill in the dots. Well, gotta head out, you gotta head out. But yeah. Hopefully, eventually, at some later point, I will come back to this and do a little separate update stream with maybe going over some more fun recent research and then talking about this again. But for now, we're just going to go off what I have. So these 5 African countries would be Zambia, Kenya, Malawi, Uganda, and Zimbabwe, and all of these would experience, cases from this epidemic. However, the outbreak started long before media coverage in December. Zimbabwe would report its first human cases from the outbreak on May 5th of 2023, from what the oops. That's fine. Sure, there's plenty of acronyms for that. I meant WHO. World Health Organization. I guess World Health Infrastructure Organization would be WHO. How would you even pronounce that? Where? Where? I wonder if that's actually a thing. I can't spell. Great. How do we get here? White House in orbit. Okay. Oh, there is actually an Wisconsin Health Information Organization. Okay. And then a bunch of Ohio related stuff. Okay. Right. So by the time media coverage had reached the epidemic, over 1,000 cases, like suspected cases, were reported. Only 37 of those were confirmed via laboratory testing, and there were 20 reported deaths. Now, the exact case number, for those curious, is 1,160 suspected cases. However, it seems like media coverage of this situation really quickly faded, and I tried my best to find more recent media coverage, but I couldn't. So who knows if more cases have been reported, if the outbreak is still ongoing? I don't know. I wish I could tell you, but I can't. I love the news. And now we come to my favorite part. Bioterrorism and bioweapons uses. But bioterrorism. So, due to anthracis lethality and Bacillus anthracis spores being difficult to get rid of, many governments and individuals have sought to use Bacillus anthracis for biological warfare and bioterrorism. And one of the papers I actually says the following, which is Spencer 2003. It has been calculated that the release of 50 kilograms of dried anthrax powder by aerosolation for 2 hours on city of 500,000 inhabitants would almost certainly lead to the rapid total breakdown of medical resources and civilian infrastructure. And while outdated by like 21 years, holy shit, people born in 2003 are old enough to drink. God damn. God damn. Yeah. The risk of handling outweighs its utility, in my opinion. Yes. Yes, A-Pop. Yes, indeed. Psychic damage. I'm taking psychic damage because I'm 19. So, like, oh my god. 2026, I can drink. What the fuck? What the hell? Oh. Last year, I was like a not college student, a high school student, and then also a college student, but a high school student. I graduated last year. What the hell? You mean to tell me I'm an adult? And soon enough I'll be drinking? Oh god. What am I doing with my life? Well, that's an existential crisis for later. Back to my favorite thing, which is Bacillus anthracis. And my least favorite thing about it, bioterrorism. So, due to anthracis lethality and Bacillus anthracis spores being difficult to get rid of... Oh wait, I just already told you this. And while this information is incredibly scary possibility, mostly because it also means people born in 2003 can drink alcohol, and for those of you in the audience who were born before 1999, that must be terrifying to think of. For me, that's not that scary. The more scary thing is the fact that I am aging. I don't like that. It's still an incredibly scary possibility, though. But we will get into the logistics of how how realistic it would be to get 50 kilograms of anthrax later. Average lizard enjoyer. Yeah. Although I can see people in the chat, mostly Makupa and Milo, taking psychic damage from the fact that people in 2000, born in 2003 would be old enough to drink. But yeah, anthrax is for all ages. You wanna die? Here you go! Yippee! And squeak. Oh, poor chat. I'm sorry I'm hurting your eardrums. Woo. So, during World War II, the British government would perform biological warfare testing on a small island called Grunyard Island. Truly, a peak name. And this was near the coast of Scotland. And this testing would leave the island uninhabitable for many decades. They performed this testing in secret without telling the locals. And now here's the part that pisses me off. A proper warning sign mentioning the fact that there was anthrax contamination wouldn't be erected until 1966. They did this testing during World War II. So, we're talking like the 1940s, early 1940s. So that's like 20 some years of just not properly informing locals that there is a dangerous and deadly pathogen on this island near where they live. Give it up for government negligence, everybody. Woo! Sarcasm. We do not love government negligence. Actually, they were just busy. Yeah. That's what they all say. Man, the government. If you knew how many unethical things the government did, you wouldn't need to believe any type of conspiracy theory ever again. Off the coast of Scotland. Defo on purpose. Yeah. Alright. So, in 1981, a group of locals going by the name Dark Harvest had had enough of the government's negligence and would take action to bring awareness to the situation. Some people count this as bioterrorism. I don't, and I'm about to explain why. So they would take samples of dirt from Grunyard Island and deposit them in important places. Now, one of these samples had some anthrax contamination, the others did not. So, because they did not intentionally try to make people sick with anthrax, and they weren't specifically going out of their way to cultivate anthrax for the purpose of infection, they were just using soil that was already known to be contaminated with anthrax to make a point rather than try and kill people. I don't count it as bioterrorism. A lot of people count it as bioterrorism. I feel like it's less bioterrorism and more really bad protesting. But very effective protesting. I just spilled water down my chin. Great. So, this protest would spur the government action, and in 1986, the government would begin decontamination efforts. And in the spring of 1990, Grunyard Island would be declared by the government the activism to bioterrorism pipeline. No. If that's a real thing, terrifying. If not, yeah. Grunyard Island would be declared by the government to be anthrax-free in the spring of 1990. But this leads to the question, so if anthrax is an incredibly powerful bioweapon, why isn't there more bioterrorism done with this bacteria? Well, let's talk about cost. Because, goddamn, I did this during the All About Bacteria research stream for this, but I'm going to break it down here. You would need to get large quantities of anthrax, and that's a lot of bacteria. So let's use the example given above of 50 kilograms of bacteria. Assuming you get a maximum of 1 gram of dried anthrax from a single agar plate, you would need 5,000 agar plates. And because Bacillus anthracis seems to primarily grow on blood agar, from what I've seen, you need to buy a lot of pre-made plates. And the cost of that alone, which we calculated on stream in a VOD, was $61,650 American in today money. And now, that's a lot of money, more than some people make in a year. And that's excluding the equipment you would need to powderize anthrax, the equipment you would need to extract anthrax from an agar plate, the inoculating loops you would need, the Bunsen burners, the cost of electricity, the cost of incubators, the cost of heating, which would also that would fall under the cost of electricity. Never mind, I'm an idiot. The cost of acquiring the anthrax, the cost of gloves, the cost of PPE, which gloves technically falls under. Why did I say that? the cost of getting the anthrax in the first place. And the cost of distributing that anthrax. And because sounds like only the rich could use and terrorize with anthrax. Exactly, Makuba. Why do you think the government likes it? Obvious reasons. Really makes you think, yeah. So, most of the people who would want to commit bioterrorism do not have anthrax money, or the requirements and the environment to use anthrax effectively. And also, anthrax is incredibly risky, which deters a lot of people in the first place. There have also been safety measures put into place to prevent bioterrorist attacks using the US postal system. And you might be wondering, what's that got to do with anthrax? We'll talk about that. Remember how I mentioned 2001 and anthrax attacks in the same sentence? It's time. So, these safety measures by the US postal system were put into place after the first and only successful, well, not the first, the only successful bioterrorist attack with anthrax so far. Following 9/11, another terrorist attack would happen. This attack would be much smaller scale, but equally as deadly. Letters laced with anthrax would be sent via the mail to politicians and media outlets. 22 people would get sick with anthrax, and 5 of those individuals would die. The FBI began to investigate this case, and publicly announced in August of 2008 that they had planned on bringing charges against Bruce Ivans, who had taken his own life before justice could be brought. Fun fact, Bruce Ivans was born in Lebanon, Ohio, which is close to Cincinnati. Never been to Lebanon, but it's close to Cincinnati. So he was from Ohio, which means we have astronauts and bioterrorism. Lovely. We also have the 2 theme parks. Love Ohio. I hate the government. The Ohio government can suck ass. I mean, it can eat ass because it sucks. Welcome to my burning rage about Ohio. Although I will say, the people here are actually pretty chill. And we got 2 theme parks, so we're winning. We also had SeaWorld at one point. Yes, I'm not kidding you. Ohio had SeaWorld. How did we get here? Bruce Ivans. Who? Bioterrorism. Right. The FBI and the USPS would formally close this case on February 19th, 2010. Fun fact, February 19th is a day after my birthday. That's right, your boy was born on February 18th. What year? You don't need to know. You don't need to know. Hydrate. Oh, God. Man, my fucking lungs are giving out on me. Now, before we get into recent research, let's take... Oh yeah, I did say I was 19. Oh, so you can figure out what year I'm born? Oh no. Whoops. Yeah, there's probably like thousands of people born on that day. Who cares? But it does mean that sometimes my birthday falls on President's Day, which is really fun. And it also means that thank you, Wave Pop, for the posture check and the hydrate. I have fixed my posture. It also means that I lived through the... Oh yeah, that's cool. My mom's also falls on Thanksgiving sometimes. So yeah, that's neat. But yeah, my birthday occasionally falls on President's Day, which is fun. Well, it was more fun when I was in school, because it meant I would get the day off for my birthday. Now that I'm in college, they don't really give you President's Day off for your birth. Well, not for your birthday. It's a holiday. So, yeah. For a while there, I got my birthday off occasionally for President's Day. Very cool. Alright. While we are here, let us take a minute to look at the wonderful images Sponsored to you, not officially sponsored. Brought to you by the CDC's library. They have a library full of images. I fucking love you, CDC. You made this process so easy. So, brought to you by the Public Health Image Library of the CDC. You love it. We love the CDC in this house. Oh, okay, kind of. So, the current image we see here is from CDC Laura Rose. Well, that's who provided the content. But the photo credits go to Janice Hanny Carr, and it is high resolution image of what Bacillus anthracis looks like under scanning electron microscope. As you can see here, it's been digitally colorized. E. coli, not E. coli. Yummy grapes. Not really. There are bacteria that look a lot more like grapes than E. coli. This is not E. coli. Bacillus does. Bacillus anthracis is not the most grape-looking bacteria. That comes down to any bacteria that are cocci, specifically Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus looks the most like grapes to me. But this is very cool. And you can see that. On to the next image, which is... Dude. Oh wait, I clicked shift. This is an auger image. Where is it? Not you. Maybe you? No. Okay. Wait, is this the right one? No, that's also a stain image. William Cherry. Oh, that one's cool, but that's not the one I'm looking for. Are you the one I'm looking for? No. You're the cool one where it shows the endospores. Are you the one I'm looking for? Jesus. Oh no, that's the one. So, welcome. Welcome, Violet! Oh wait, hello, welcome. How was your stream? I saw you were streaming earlier. Was that fun? Did you have fun? Welcome, we are covering Bacillus anthracis. We have finished up a good chunk of it already. We need to cover the recent research stuff. But we're taking a break now to look at the images I have and talk about them, because I thought that'd be fun. Where is it? Is this the right one I'm looking for? Was that fun? Okay, so this image was taken by Todd Parker, PhD, who is Associate Director for Laboratory Science Division of Preparedness and Emergent Infections at CDC. Welcome, Violet. This is a bacteria stream, and I am so happy for this. We have had a fun time so far. So this is a image of... It detects colonial growth displayed by Pasteur strain members of the gram-positive bacterium Bacillus anthracis. And this was cultured on mannitol egg yolk polymyxine agar, or MEP medium, for a 24-hour time period at a temperature of 37 Celsius. So this is not blood agar, but it's very pretty. What's the next image? This is also on Augur, but I think I got this. This is not a CDC image. I think this is a ResearchGate image. Yeah, wait, no. This is not the ResearchGate image. Where is it? Nope, not you. Not you. Not you either. Not you. You're the blood stain, I think you're that. Wait, is this the right one? Welcome to hunting down images. Because this is an image, and I have the credit for this image in this doc. Where the fuck is it? Ah! Where? Angry bacilli noises. Taps the sign. You gotta credit your people's. That's not the image. Is this? No, that's not the image either. Are you the image? No, I think you're the one of... No, you're also not the image. You're the image! Found it! Yeah. Okay. So this is showing Bacillus anthracis growth on phenylethyl alcohol agar, or P agar. Well, P medium. So this is cool. This is the Stern strain, and this is taken by Todd Parker, PhD, Associate Director for Laboratory Science, Division of Preparedness and Emerging Infections at the CDC. Same image credit guy as last time. This, thank you, Violet. I will hydrate. My lungs have chosen violence, and I'm not sure why. I know it's not anthrax. Don't worry, children. Chat. All of you are older than me, I'm pretty sure, except for maybe Violet. Like, most of you are older than me. So this one is Bacillus anthracis on sheep's blood agar. Once again, by Todd Parker, PhD, Associate Director for Laboratory Sciences, Division of Preparedness and Emergent Infections at CDC. It's the same guy as the last, 3 images have been. Lovely. You'll love to see it. He just works with anthrax a lot. What can I say? Ow. I hit my thumb against the table. So many babies. Yep. And this one is this the right image? Yeah. This is by Dr. Brodsky. Wait. Is this? No, that's Bruce Ivans. Wrong guy. Sorry. Whoopsies. So this is Dr. Brodsky. That is who provided the content. There is no photo credit. I love when the CDC doesn't provide me with a photo credit. Thank you, CDC. Thank you for just providing me the content provider. So this is what it looks like under a microscope. And this is specifically gram stained. As you can tell, it's purple, which means it's gram positive. Yippee! Yippee! Little guy noises. And then this is... Where is this? I know where you live. Not you specifically. The images in my thing. Again, I mentioned this earlier. So this is provided by the CDC. They don't give me an image credit. But this is a photograph depicted... This photograph depicted Laboratory Leadership Services, LLC, fellow, oh god, Ata Nakasha Marinova Petikova, as he demonstrated how to set up real-time polymerase chain reaction for detection of anthrax while at the Pasteur Center in Yando, Cameroon. So, look at that. Okay, wait. I gotta geek out here for a little minute. Look at it. Ugh. She's holding a micropipette. Those are fun. I have a sticker on my laptop that says micropipette, that says PCR, pipette, cry, repeat. They are so fun to use. They measure in microliters, which are really small measurements. She is holding one, and you can tell that she's working on it. So they're setting up PCR that is specifically for the detection of anthrax. That's what they're doing here. PCR, I will talk about that in an all about microbiology stream, because trying to explain what that is in a stream that's not focused on it would probably kill me, and also probably get us way too off topic. But it is fun. It is a cool laboratory technique, and we can use it for a lot of things, but specifically detection of certain diseases. It's a laboratory test you can do to detect COVID. Side note, it is not the test that is used for those at-home COVID tests. The at-home COVID tests are ELISAs. I fucking hate ELISAs. Welcome to Bacilli Hater Hour. I hate ELISAs. ELISAs are so goddamn pointless. They're not pointless. I hate them, but they feel so pointless. Because let me tell you, an ELISA, you want to know what it is? You set it up. So you do a thing, you then wait 5 minutes, and you have to clean it out, and you have to wait 5 more minutes, and then you have to do step 2, and wait 5 more minutes, and then you gotta do step 3, and then wait 5 minutes, and then you can finally analyze the results, and all you get is a fucking color change! And it's so goddamn infuriating, because if you get one little itty-bitty drop of cross-contamination, guess what? You've just lost God knows how many hours of work. It's Not hours. Like, you've lost like 20 minutes of work. It's annoying. It's infuriating. I hate it. Plus, they're not reliable. False positive COVID test, false negative COVID test, false positive pregnancy test, false negative pregnancy test, with the at-home COVID test and at-home pregnancy test, which are both ELISAs. I fucking hate ELISAs. This is Bacilli hater hour. I hate ELISAs. ELISAs can go eat shit and die. I love PCR. It's so fun. I hate ELISAs. I fucking hate ELISAs. I hate ELISAs. If you take anything away from this stream, other than Bacillus knowledge, take away this. ELISAs are the garbage. Are the most garbage test ever. I hate them. I hate them so much. My rage for ELISAs is incomparable. They're pretty, though. I will give them that. The color change is pretty. But God, it pisses me off. I hate the color. I hate ELISAs. This is the one that is from the... Where is it? No. Too high up. There we go. This is from a ResearchGate. ELISA stream when... No. You're not getting an ELISA stream. Oh wait, G-Lysis. I don't... G-Lysis. Goddamn, let me copy. Let me paste and search. It's because I don't know if that's... No, okay. Like, but ELISA stream, I will cover it eventually despite how much I hate it. But ELISAs can go eat shit and die. So this photo was taken by Kate Hendricks and is Bacillus anthracis 24-hour growth on sheep's blood auger from a swab of cutaneous anthrax lesion from a patient in Texas, United States, 2019. Driver's license? Driver's license. I can't drive. Driver's license. Wait, did I read that too loud? Kate Hendricks. Cutaneous anthrax lesion. Lesion. Blech. What a baby. I'm 19. I just don't have my driver's license yet because welcome to Fun Bacilli Fact Hour. So one time, I was a sophomore at the time. And in my state, you can get your permit, well, at the time, at 15 and a half. Guess I gotta save. No, you're good. I thought people would realize that. I guess not. New. What the hell are these? Power-ups. Message effects. What on earth? What does this do? Oh, what the Jesus? Okay. No, it's under... Oh, those are bits. Oh, okay, I'm stupid. Time to act every state in their permit laws. No! So at the time it was 15 and a half. I think now it's 16. But my mom, because this was during the pandemic, so my mom's like, okay, you're close to getting your permit. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to take you to your high school parking lot, and we're going to practice driving. And I'm like, okay. And so she takes me to my high school parking lot and puts me behind the wheel. At the time, I was unmedicated for ADHD, and I didn't know I was autistic. Now put two and two together, and you can see where this went. I did not crash the car, but I almost ran into a light pole on 3 separate times. And that instilled in me, okay, maybe no drive. Maybe Bacilli no wheel. Maybe Bacilli does not get handed a driver's wheel. And so I have not gotten my license yet. But eventually, I will get it. Mark my words. And then this, we're going to skip past that for a minute. That image is relevant to something that is in the recent research section that we are going to talk about in a moment. No, that's not the right image. No, that's not the right image. This the right image? Maybe the right image. No, that's the wrong image. Give it up for Bacilli's inability to find the images he saved. Thank you, CDC. Love it when that happens. Driving with ADHD, it's fun, like getting a video game quick time reaction every 3 minutes. No. But yeah, I was unmedicated, and that did not go well. Never put me behind the wheel of a licensed car ever again. I will go badly. No, that's the this one. Found it. So this image is this shows you can see the bacillus, which is these rod shapes. So you can see the rod shapes amongst these larger circular cells, which I think are probably blood cells. If I had to guess, it doesn't say in the thing. So some had linked together to form chains, while others had remained solitary. So these are bacillus bacteria contamination in some type of cell culture. I'm assuming this is a blood smear. There is no photo credit for this other than the content providers being the CDC. Do with that information what you will. And then our next image is this fun one. Oh, I love this one. This one's fun. So this one, you might notice these bacteria are red with green spots. This is Bacillus anthracis with a specific dye. So this uses malachite green, a specific type of stain called malachite green spore staining. But the technique is called malachite green spore staining technique. And it allows us to see these endospores, which are these green spots that you can kind of see on the picture. So let me just... Sorry, chat, you're being covered for a minute. You can see these green spots. Look closely. It is shaped like a stingray, but you can see these green spots. And those are endospores inside the Bacillus bacteria. Very cool. Let me just resize this a hot minute. So I'm not covering you, chat. Oops. There we go. Yippee! We're back. You're back on screen. Looky do. Lucky you. So that was by Larry Stauffer of the Oregon State Public Health Laboratory. And now, the next image, which is the cutaneous anthrax lesion image, which is fun. So this depicts the this image depicts the right lateral view of a patient's neck, on which you're able to see an example of cutaneous anthrax lesion caused by the bacterium Bacillus anthracis. Important to note the characteristic coal-black coloration of the lesion from which the organisms derive its name. For Greek, anthrax means coal. So that's what this image is. And as you can tell, the image was taken a long time ago, and it's provided by the CDC. And because it's the CDC, most of these images don't have image credits. Let's go. Woo. Love it when my images don't have image credits. This is a... Well, did you have to drop it so hard? Nope, that's not the right image. The right image is underneath it. There we go. Woo! Yeah. So this shows Bacillus anthracis bacteria that is taken from heart blood, and it is processed using carbol fusion stain. So you can see these large kind of chains. Those are Bacillus anthracis. All right, and then the next image is the other one. All right, so this is showing Bacillus anthracis bacteria taken from the peritoneum and processed using his capsule stain. So as you can see, you got some regular big ol' cells, and then you got the bunch of Bacillus anthracis cells, which is also image credit to the CCC. Yeah, CDC. Lovely. This is a fun one. Okay, this is the fun one. So the caption of this is, this image depicts 2 lymph node impression smears, of which have been processed using fluorescent antibody staining technique. On the left, so this side, let me get this bigger. Whoa. Where? So this side, oh wait, I'm gonna move me out of the way so you can see this. Oh, he's gone. There's no more bacilli. No, don't leave. We'll be back soon. So, this is of... On the left, tissue samples reveal the presence of Bacillus anthracis bacteria, as well as debris. So you can see here, if you look closely, these rod shapes amongst all the cellular debris. And those are Bacillus anthracis, which is very cool. And then on the right shows normal, non-infected tissue sample. And the fluorescent antibody on the stain on the left, you're able to see the rod-shaped and a lot of cellular debris. On the right, you see non-infected tissue demonstrate normal globulin content, whatever that means. And so this picture, there is no image source, but the content provider is Dr. William Cherry, if I think. Yeah, Dr. William Cherry, who is with the CDC. So let me just make that image small again. Ooh. And now I can pop up again. Magic! He appeared! He appeared! Wow! Woo! Ah! So that one's a fun image. And then we got this one, which I think is just another gram stain. Nope. Nope. Where's it? Yes. Here it is. This one I don't think is special. Yeah, this is just showing gram positive. So this is not anything special. It's just Bacillus anthracis under a microscope. And then we got this one, which is we're back at the start. We're back at the electron scanning microscope image. So now that we've covered all the images, are you ready for the actual scientific gobbledygook? So this part, I'm going to specify the recent research portion. You're about to be very confused. I was slightly confused writing this. Mostly because I have a scientific background already. I don't have a strong scientific background yet. So, this section, the recent research section, I'm going to preface this right away. This section is very scientific terminology heavy. This section is not beginner friendly, where the rest of this paper has been very beginner friendly, a lot of definitions, a lot of very clear wording. This talks about a lot of like a lot more complex, in-depth scientific topics, because it is recent research and it's really hard to simplify very specific papers with recent research down to something really simple and easy to understand without cutting out all of the scientific content in it and just going, this is what this paper found. There's no more elaboration I can give you. Have fun. So, recent research section. If you're confused, ask questions. I don't mind. I don't mind defining what a word is. I don't mind explaining what these mean. But there's 2 papers for this, because I originally wanted to do 4, but then I did the second paper and I was like, God damn, that is 2 whole paragraphs from one paper. So I said no and just stuck with the 2. So for whatever reason, both of these papers are from 2020. So the first one is looking at something fun. And you might be wondering, Bacilli, how fun can it be? Just you wait. And spoiler alert, do you see the little bacteriophage on my window sill in the background? You know, the little weird shaped little guy on the windowsill back here. I don't know if you can see it, but like right next to my left ear. That guy. We're going to talk about bacteriophages in the first one. So what's a bacteriophage? It's a specific type of virus that attacks bacteria. So this one specifically has to deal with Bacillus bacteria. So this one, in 2020, a new lytic bacteriophage, lytic being one of the bacterial life cycles, lytic being basically it comes in, causes havoc, and it's instantaneous. Lysogenic, it can lay dormant for a while. Think herpes. Lytic is consistent. It is your flu. So this bacteriophage infects Bacillus anthracis, and it was found in Pafari, South Africa. Bacteriophage has been dubbed Bacillus phage crookii. And this phage belongs to the Miroviridae family, and is closely related to other Bacillus bacteriophages found on African anthrax species. African anthrax carcasses, so carcasses infected with anthrax. This bacteriophage also displayed effectiveness against other B. cereus group bacteria, such as Bacillus cereus, Bacillus thuringiensis, those other B. cereus group bacteria. But it had a great affinity or like for Bacillus anthracis specifically. And now, remember that image? Oh no! No! I was yapping during an ad! No! Oh my god, chat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was yapping during the ad. Oh no. No. Ugh. So TLDR. Bacteriophage. Bacillus phage crookii. Found in Pafari, South Africa. Closely related to other Bacillus bacteriophages found in African anthrax. African carcasses infected with anthrax. So this bacteriophage, effective against other B. cereus group bacteria, but had a greater affinity for Bacillus anthracis in particular. Now, remember that image I kind of skipped over earlier? Like I skipped over a minute ago. Let's get back to it, shall we? This one. So this image is from this paper. So, let's look at it. It's so big. Why so big? So you can see here. Oh, that's my background. Where's my model? Let me move me over to the side a little. We're down. So this is Stern strain. So this is one strain. This is another strain. These are both Bacillus anthracis strains. So this is looking at phage plaques, which is these areas where you can see the red auger underneath. So what they've done here is they've created a lawn. And a lawn is a large spread of a certain bacteria. In this case, we're looking at Bacillus anthracis. And you can see here these phage plaques, which are areas where these bacteriophages have gone in and basically killed all the bacteria that was on that lawn and created a zone that is inhabitable for this bacteria. And you can see the red auger underneath it. And so this is from 10 microliters of crookii filtrate. So that's interesting, to say the least. That's pretty fun. So yeah, that's what that image was that I skipped over earlier. All right, we're back to full size. And then the next paper. Oh boy, the next paper. And by the way, the credits for the Bacillus... I should drink water. Love me some good water. Gotta stay hydrated. You know, chat? Gotta stay hydrated. Because you always want to stay hydrated and moist. Because moisture is good for you. Yippee. Yippee. Yippee, yippee, yippee. So, Hassem et al. 2020. So, June 20th, 2020. Isolation of a lytic bacteriophage infected Bacillus anthracis isolate from Pafuri, South Africa. And that was published on Yippee. Yep. Yippee! Yippee! Little bacteria, guys. So this next portion of the research. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh wow, oh fun. So this in yet again another 2020 paper. Wow. During this part of the thing, I was like, wow. there are so many 2020 papers on Bacillus anthracis because the 4 papers I had picked, even though I had specified within the past 5 years, I didn't think all of them would be from 2020 were, you know, from 2020. So I guess despite the ongoing viral pandemic, I guess people were just enjoying having a good time researching all about that Bacillus anthracis. Baby, love me some Bacillus anthracis. So Michael H. Norris and colleagues, researchers. So okay, so in another, oh my god, I misread stuff. In another 2020 paper by Michael H. Norris and his colleagues, these researchers looked at a new developments regarding Bacillus anthracis' exosporum, the outside layer of a spore, protein composition. So, on exosporum surfaces, there are glyphosated proteins. And these proteins have a unique monosaccharide cap at the end of them. And this monosaccharide cap is called anthros, because it is unique to, anthrax and Bacillus anthracis. And so, what they were looking at was certain West African group Bacillus anthracis strains have a mutation that causes them to have less anthros on these exosporums. So they would be called anthros deficient. However, recently, these anthros deficient strains of Bacillus anthracis have been identified outside of the West African group in European drug users. So remember those epidemics we were talking about a couple minutes ago? Yeah, they were finding these strains that had this mutation that causes them to have less anthros on their exosporum in these injectional drug user patients. And due to this, the paper's authors begin to research how anthros plays a role in the physiology and pathogenesis of Bacillus anthracis. And the study's authors found some really cool things. So they found that the mutant Bacillus anthracis had delayed spore germination, but they had higher rates of sporulation. These spores that were deficient in anthros were also more likely to be phagocytosed at higher rates than their non-mutant counterparts, which the paper's authors suggested that anthros may serve an anti-phagocytic function on the spore surface, which is a neat thing. And, interestingly, this mutant Bacillus anthracis also showed decreased times of death, half of the LD50. So what an LD50 is, I'm going to explain this real quick. So LD50. Oh wait, that's gonna fuck my model. It's basically the amount of material given all at once which causes the death of 50% of a group of test animals. So this specific, these mutants had basically half of the LD50 of wild type anthracis. And in addition, they had a 20% increase in lethality. So this paper is a huge milestone in identifying some pathogenic and physiogenic differences of anthros-deficient Bacillus anthracis strains, which can lead us to have further research into how these strains affect the outcomes of patients who have the mutated Bacillus anthracis infections. So, the Bacillus anthracis infections that but are deficient in anthros versus those who, have the wild type strains, how that affects the health outcomes, how that affects survivability, all that type of thing. So even though it's a recent study and there's not been a whole lot of development off of it, it's still really interesting, and I'm really excited to see what papers come out after this. And that is the end of the doc. Wow. I said it was going to be a long stream. I didn't think it would be this short. I thought it would take a little bit longer, but it's still pretty long. Tons of research to be done, yes. And while we are here, I would like to specifically cite, excited for more anthros deficient No. I'm excited for the research potential. If I could get a paper published one day, like, even if I wasn't like the writer of the paper, but I was like, someone who worked on it, I think I would dox myself immediately to just tell you, look at this paper I wrote. Look at it. Oh my God, look at it. At that point, I would probably just drop OPSEC just because I would be so proud of myself. Security be damned. If I ever publish a paper in like a journal, I'm sharing it with you guys immediately. I don't care if that violates OPSEC. But like, you know how awesome that would be? Like, dude, that is so much work and effort to do a paper. I don't think that'll be for at least, a good long while, especially because I don't want to I'm not even sure if I'd get my master's yet. If I did, I'd probably go into bacteriology. Posture check, yes, thank you, Violet. So, now that we are done with the main document, what I want to talk about now is the research and the behind the scenes stuff, because we still got some time, and it's going to be a long stream. So first, I'm going to put another link in chat, and this is going to be to all of the papers I had bookmarked that maybe I didn't mention directly, or maybe I didn't cite or didn't rely on during the creation of this doc process. But this is all of them. So if you want to see, and also includes all the image credits as well. So if you want to see the 3 whole pages, well, not 3 whole pages, 2.5 pages worth of just links of what I had bookmarked during this process, here you go. But let's talk about behind the scenes stuff, because there's a lot to be covered. There's a lot to talk about. And this project took several months of work, and I am beyond happy with how it came out. And I'm beyond happy to have done it and have it done now. So I started this because what I was thinking was I was early on in my streaming career. I was like, well, not streaming career. I say this like it's my job, but I was early on in this hobby, and I was like, damn, I should think of some fun stream topics. And one that I really thought of, and that I was like, I want to do this because I'm really passionate about microbiology, especially bacteria. I've talked about this in numerous streams, but microbiology is something I'm really passionate about. It's something that I love talking about, and I think a lot more people should know about it because it's important, and you don't think about it a whole lot until you start learning about it. And it's something that I'm passionate about, and I want to share with other people because I think there's a lot of cool things to learn and cool things to study in this field. And I really do want to share it with others because I think it's worth sharing. I think it's worth being passionate about. And the All About Bacteria series of streams was something I thought of, and I was like, I want to do this because I think people should know about these. I think it's fun to take a bunch of scientific information that, a lot of people might not understand. I'm going to be real with you. I learned a lot sorting and reading through all of these scientific papers for this, and, trying to take scientific literature and turn it into something that a lot of people can understand is really fucking hard. Because you gotta think, okay, what needs defined, what doesn't? What is, the baseline knowledge a lot of people would have about biology, and then how much of that would be, excluded because microbiology is more focused, and how much microbiology topics do you need to, specifically cover and address? And it was a lot. And considering I started working on this when I was in my most recent semester of college, my spring semester, I had to try and figure out how to fit working on this into a busy schedule, because I was taking 2 very high maintenance classes. Because I was taking a biology class, which there's a lot of obviously I'm pretty good at biology, I'd like to think. But also, college level biology definitely requires a lot more attention and, time and effort put into it. And then I was taking general chemistry, and I am not a chemistry person. I don't do well with chemistry. You would think that I actually know something about chemistry. You'd be wrong. And I had to put in a lot of effort not to fail. It's why for like the week before finals and the week of finals, I kind of dropped off the planet when it came to streaming because I was just so busy focusing. And so trying to not fit in to, but like figure out how I was going to work on this and like working on this while, focusing on college and the assignments that come with that was really hard. But after I got my spring semester wrapped up, I was like, okay, I'm not taking summer classes. And yeah, I'm going to be looking for a summer job. I found a job. Yippee. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to be looking for a job. But now that I'm not in classes anymore, I have a lot more free time. So I definitely really went to town on working on this. And I definitely think that there's a lot of things I've learned from this process. Like even having the notes, I think I could have done my notes better for this stream. So that way it could have been, more clear and like I wouldn't be so off track at some points. Because this is not scripted. There's a lot of notes and I'm reading from those notes. But at several points, like you get some off track sometimes. And I think what surprised me the most was how fast I got done with this stream. Because I was thinking people would have a lot more questions. Because I was thinking, like, okay, surely someone would have, the, questions about what this is, what that is, those type of things. But a lot of people didn't, which kind of surprised me in a way. People still had some questions. I know, where is it? I know Apop asked about, like, where is it? About if cutaneous anthrax was more contagious. I still don't have an answer for that. And it definitely teaches you a lot about time management because I had to figure out what is summarizing things. It's like, okay, what's important enough to keep when talking about this and what's not important. And I think it shows a lot more where I was better at it than where I wasn't. So the injectional anthrax and then the cutaneous anthrax parts, you can tell, I think very clearly that those were done at the very beginning of this project versus the gastrointestinal inhalation anthrax, which were done more so towards the end because those had a lot more detail and elaboration put into them rather than the cutaneous and injection anthrax because I didn't know what to put in, how much effort to put in. Well, not effort, but like how much information to put in, what would be too much, like what I should have put in. So I definitely regret not putting in more information about injectional anthrax or like cutaneous anthrax. But I don't think it's bad. I think I included enough information where I'm happy with it and where I provided, at least, okay, this is not the worst I could have done. I could have done better by all means, but this is not the worst. So I'm happy with that. I think what I would go back in time and tell me starting this project is like, hey, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle, especially because you're gonna summarize this for people who don't really know a lot of science. You're gonna want to make sure this is as clear to people who don't understand microbiology as you can, and that's gonna make it incredibly difficult because the language you use to talk about science as a scientist is a lot different from the language you use to tell other people about science, and it's hard to go, okay, where do I drop the technicality and where do I keep it? Because it can be difficult to tell when to keep that technicality and keep it for the sake of clarity, and when to drop it because it's needless or it's a bit too much. But so for most of this paper I was struggling with that, but then I got to the recent research section and I was like, okay, this I can't summarize. I can't drop the detail. I have to kind of keep it because that's the whole point of this section, is to talk about all of the recent research. Well, not all of it, but like, some of the recent research going on in this bacterium. Like this not bacterium, but this bacterial species. And that is very much scientific. That is where you start getting into the nitty-gritty, especially so. Because with the general information, it's easy there to kind of like slim it down. Anthrax infection, okay, it's easy there to kind of cut stuff out or provide definitions in the document for what these words mean. Discovery of Bacillus anthracis, I don't need to really go into too much scientific detail. Known outbreaks, I just need to mention, like some information about the outbreak. Bioweapons and bioterrorism uses, that's pretty self-explanatory. But the recent research portion was where I struggled the hardest. And in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm doing this live. I don't need to make this very unscientific. I can go as scientific as I want because it's at the end of the paper. A lot of people are going to, probably save their questions to the end. So what I did was I was like, okay, you know what? Just go in depth, buddy. You don't need to try and figure out how to summarize these very complex papers down to a bare bones approach that's easy enough for other people to understand, but still gets the scientific information across. You can put in the details. And that was nice to just at the end kind of, go, fuck it. I don't need to oversimplify shit. I don't know how good of a decision that was. I don't know if that was the right choice to make, but I'm happy with it. And I think a lot of people don't seem to, be upset about that choice that I did. I think I did a good job for this being my first of the All About Bacteria streams. I think what I would change is maybe when it comes to images, put them in like a set order. With the image slideshow I had, I didn't do any preemptive like ordering or anything. I just kind of took it from the folder I have saved in my pictures section and just directly imported it into OBS. So that means all of the stuff was in this awkward order that that doesn't really correlate with the whole like the whole project. So like, you have the bacteriophage stuff at the end, but then you have, oh God, like, all of this stuff, and it's not really in a quite clear order. Like I have a gram stain image towards the end of the images, and then I have this fun photo with, the specifically looking at endospore staining at the beginning of these slides. And so I think next time what I'll do is I'll probably make sure they're in order instead of just doing it by the thing, especially because with the CDC website, the images they are numbered, so they have their own little number code, and that I couldn't be bothered to, I guess, put them in order, or put them in an order that made sense, because it's just the images when you go to get them from the CDC public health image library. When you go to do the high resolution download, you get a specific file and you have to convert it to a PNG, and that's a pain in the ass in and of itself. And then you have to move it to the folder, which is where you want it, yada yada yada. So I get why I made that shortcut, but I think it was a bad call in the end. I think next time, maybe don't cover any outbreaks that aren't done yet. Because with the African anthrax epidemic section, that was a fucking bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That sucked. because I was trying my hardest to find like, okay, is the outbreak still ongoing? Do we have any updated numbers on how many people are dead, how many people are sick, how many confirmed cases there are? But because it got picked up by mainstream news coverage and then dropped like a sack of rocks, I couldn't find anything. And it sucked so bad. Lesson I learned for the All About Bacteria research streams. So, for those who don't know, I sometimes, well, I've done it a lot this week, but like, I've done a couple of streams where I've done the research for these projects live on stream. What I've learned from that, and I mentioned this earlier in a tweet today, sometimes scientific sites will just straight up dox you. I took down that VOD and I edited out the part where I got doxxed. But what had happened was, because, usually sites don't automatically do this. But what had happened was I was looking at my link springer, the third source, the one that had the nasty injectional anthrax images. And I was looking at some of the references they had. And I saw one, and it was from Science Direct. And I'm like, oh, cool. I want to go check that out, because that would be fun. And I checked it out on stream. And it was a full paper, and I... like, not full paper. I lied. Whoopsies. But it was a good front page and stuff. And I didn't realize... Because usually when it says access through institution, it doesn't display your specific institution. But for this one, it displayed access through college. And it showed my college's name. And I was on stream. And I realized it, and I'm like, oh shit. And so now, I've learned a valuable life lesson. Don't fucking open Science Direct links on stream. And if you're going to open them on stream, make sure you're not showing your screen while you're on stream. Who'da thunk? Not me, because I wasn't aware it did that, because I've never had that issue before with Science Direct. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, Makuva, I learned the hard way. I cut it out of the VOD, and the VOD's on YouTube without that part. But thankfully, nobody snitched. I mean, I'm being open about it here because I don't want someone else who might do a science stream or do a stream looking at something science related to fall into the same rabbit trap I did. Because I didn't know that was a thing you could do. Because a lot of these other sources, like the NCBI doesn't do it, Linkspringer doesn't do it, Academic Oop, which is an interesting link name, like academic dot So here, I'm gonna show this real quick. I'm not gonna show my college. I've named after myself like twice on stream, and I had my full name on screen for like 5 minutes while I was AFK. Yeah, no, that is something that happened. This specifically, you can see here it says sign in through institution. On this bad boy, which is a Science Direct link, I'm not going to touch obviously because I know it's going to do it. It will show, instead of through your institution, it shows the specific institution. Here on this specific site, which is academic.oop.com, and then CID stuff, it doesn't do that. I haven't had an issue with this because it shows, sign in through your institution. It doesn't show your specific institution. I was streaming on YouTube, so like 2 people were there watching. Yeah, true. At least there is that. You weren't. I also had like maybe 2 or 3 people watching me for the All About Bacteria stream where I did leak my college. So we're good. But yeah, I have accidentally doxed my college on stream because I didn't think it would do that. And so what I've learned the hard way is, hey, be a little smarter before doing that, because apparently things to know for the future. Exactly. The things I have learned from the future. Learned how to not dox myself, and I've learned, you know, if you think you're being safe on the internet with your like OPSEC, maybe double check and triple check that you're actually being safe with your OPSEC. Because I thought I was being good with my OPSEC. I thought, I was being safe, I was being fine. I wasn't really, doing anything that could, leak my, like, purposely dox myself. Or, I thought I was doing good. I thought I was doing fine. I thought I was keeping my OPSEC good. And you learn sometimes the hard way that, hey, there's always more lessons about OPSEC to be learned. So yeah, that's, I think, one of the more hard things I learned about streaming this live is that maybe just maybe, check without sharing your screen the papers you're opening. That way you know if the fucking publisher is gonna dox you. But in terms of like how to do research, oh, sorry, person. Wow, wow. In terms of like the research aspect, I've already talked about that a bit, but another thing is sometimes you're gonna bookmark a source thinking you'll use it, and you're not gonna end up using it at all. I think that's pretty obvious through the actual like document that just covers everything I bookmarked in terms of like links. Because there are like well over there's like 25, 26 links I think I had bookmarked. And I only really ended up using, let's see, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 of those links. So if I do the math, calculator. Let's see. So 14 over 25. That's only like about 50% of the things I had linked that I actually ended up using or citing, which is very few in the long run at all. Like, so very few. So you're probably not going to use everything you think is important to bookmark, but it's still nice to have it bookmarked in case you want to look at it in the future. Don't cover current outbreaks. I learned that doing the African epidemic outbreak. I call it an epidemic because it's like, it's pretty big. Like 1,000 plus suspected cases is a lot of people. So, yeah, not the biggest by far, but like still a lot. I learned that doing that, don't do it. Because you're going to have a hard time finding information. Especially because sometimes that outbreak is going to get covered by the news, and then it's going to get dropped by the news suddenly. And so nobody will get to you a fucking update. It's like, I tried looking at like WHO, which is who? So the World Health Organization. I tried finding an update from them. Nothing. Not a whole lot of scientific articles, but to be fair, the process of getting a scientific article published, from what I've heard, takes a while. And it takes a while. Scientific articles covering that probably aren't out yet and probably won't be out until after, like several months after the epidemic ends. And that's not even covering if the epidemic's over. So what I won't do in the future is probably do another, like, current outbreak. Probably give it at least 1 to 2 years. So like 2020, 2021 would probably be the most recent I would do in the future. So lesson learned from that. Always, if you think you're forgetting something, you probably are. So as I was thinking, so I was doing a live stream where I was drawing art, I think. Yeah. And I remembered during the stream that in the All About Bacillus anthracis doc, I had somehow forgotten to mention Grunyard Island and Dark Harvest. I don't know how though, because those are pretty important things I knew I wanted to include in the doc, and I'm not sure how they slipped my mind. So always, always, always go back through a mental like checklist or a physical checklist and make sure you've talked about everything you want to talk about. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff, and definitely a really exciting project. So, what's next? Well, I have at least 2 ideas for what All About Bacteria like topics I want to do next. And I know that those are going to be Bacillus cereus and then E. coli. All about Bacteria E. coli, that's gonna take a fucking while. So to give you an idea of what the outline for that looks like, we got general information: E. coli infection, discovery of E. coli, Shiga toxin producing Escherichia coli or STEC, known outbreaks, food safety, how not to die, bioterrorism potential, protein synthesis, and recent research, not including the references and image links. Just for E. coli. Just for that one bacteria. So, you know, a whole paper's worth of subsections before text. And then, because that's going to be a next large... E. coli must have tons of documentation. No, yeah. I specifically mentioned this on the All About E. coli research stream, which I think... Oh, no, I did nuke the VOD for that. The VOD does not exist for that one, because whoopsies, family is bad at OPSEC. Even though I tried to explain to them how OPSEC works, you think they would be better at it. They aren't. To be fair, trying to explain to them, hey, dude, doesn't work really well. So I had to delete that VOD, which kind of sucks. But, yeah. So, E. coli, which is going to take a long time, especially the known outbreak section, because... I have to find the whole interactive map thing. E. coli outbreak map. Yeah, where is it? CDC. One of my cats made a noise. Show them how bad breaking OPSEC could be. I don't want to traumatize my family. Makuba, would it be effective? Yes. Would I traumatize my family? Yes. Would it also dox me in return? Yes. Wait, no, I'm not going to dox my family, but, like, you know, would violating the OPSEC, well, showing my family how bad OPSEC breaking can be, hurt me in return because I'm related and live with them? Yes, that's what I meant. I am bad at English, despite it being my only language. What? There's a cat. He is screaming. Where is it? CDC, show me your shit. So, no. Dun 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 dun. Da 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 dum dun dun. Now let yourself get doxed openly. I know you're joking and memeing, but also, yeah, like, but there is a shit ton of E. coli outbreaks just in the United States alone. So the outbreak section specifically is also gonna suck. But then I also have Bacillus cereus, which is not gonna be as hard to do, because there is no bioterrorism with Bacillus cereus, and a Bacillus cereus infection usually not that complicated, unless you have a compromised immune system, in which case, have fun with that one. So Bacillus cereus, that's gonna probably be the next one. I'm not sure when that'll be, because I start a new job next week, and I'm sure that'll kill my ability to do anything in my free time. That'll also affect streams. So for my regular stream viewers who, show up pretty consistently, stream schedule is gonna be a lot shorter. So this is a long stream, but from now on, streams are probably going to be pretty short, and I'm sorry. Like, looking at like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, which is a little unfortunate, but I can't really move my stream starting time because I live with other people, and sometimes those other people don't get home until like 7, 8 o'clock, and they're in the dining room till like 9, and I stream in my dining room. Why don't you just stream in your bedroom? I share a bedroom with someone. Why can't you stream in your basement? Aside from bad internet connection, my basement is a horror show. So I kind of am stuck to streaming at my dining room table, which means I don't really have a lot of privacy. So I can only really stream at late hours of the night. And considering I work morning shifts, that kind of means I gotta be in bed at a reasonable time, which is a yikes. Still be streaming though. They'll just be shorter, smaller streams, which is a bit unfortunate. But hey, that means you get streams Monday through Friday. Think about it. That means you only get 2 days without me streaming. Ain't that fun? Yeah. VTubing life can be hard. Yeah. I'm glad it's a hobby for me and not a job. Because silly bite-sized streams. Yes! That is a great pun. Average lizard enjoyer. But yes, Makuba, streaming life can be hard. Especially when you're a college student. Thankfully, I don't have summer classes, but damn, getting a job. Pros? Money that I can invest into assets and also like games to play on stream and stuff. Like the video doing. Cons? Goodbye free time. Goodbye stream length. Have fun with that one, buddy. But yeah. All about microbiology. I know I haven't really talked about this a lot, and I've only done one of those so far. But All About Microbiology, it's like a sister thing that I want to do in relation to All About Bacteria, as kind of like a way to creep in these more, like put in these more scientific fun streams more often. So I'm working on one of those. So the All About Microbiology, we're going to do auger plates next. So that one's going to be fun. We're going to go over types of auger, and then we're going to go over a couple of certain augers. So we got nutrient auger, blood auger, chocolate auger, McConkey auger, and then we got LB auger, which is Luria broth auger, I know, but I like calling it LB auger because that's how you abbreviated it. So that's gonna be fun. So next, All About bacteria stream. I don't have a date for that. Next, All About microbiology stream. Probably before the end of this month, maybe beginning of July, depending on how much free time I have. But yeah, so don't worry. More science stuff coming soon. Just because I'm getting a job doesn't mean I'm going to completely drop streaming. Just means my stream schedule is going to be a little weird. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's come to the stream. Let's go find someone to raid, because there's like a couple people live. Who have I not raided in a while? Who have I not raided at all? Chat, do you guys got any raid suggestions? Dude. Do. 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 Trying to find people to raid. Don't watch a lot of streamers, sadly. Oh, well, I get it. Free time's hard. You gotta like figure out who you like and who you don't. Stream, yeah, very fun stream. Had a lot of fun. Got a yap. What are you thinking? Okay. Wait a minute. Isn't Grace supposed to stream today? Probably something fun and high energy. Or Lisa. I'm probably gonna just drop. I'm probably just gonna raid and then go to bed because it is like 1:14 my time. I should be sleepy. So Yeah. I've never seen Dark Souls, so that could be fun. I don't know. Yeah, it's late. We've been yapping for almost 3 hours. Holy shit. That was fun, though. I don't regret it in the slightest, though. I had fun. Okay, Kataru Complex. Okay. Okay. Raid Kotaru Complex. Oh god, I can't spell. Alright. Woo! Raid setup. We're gonna go raid Kotaru. And then I'm gonna go to bed. Hope you guys had a fun stream. I will see you Sunday for some Pokemon Platinum. Take care. Take your meds. Stay hydrated. Hug your pets. I love you. Bye. Yippee. Yippee.